We're doing some questions here which involve us working out the area of triangles. Now there's three different formulas you can use for working out the area of a triangle. The one that we've probably been most used to is one which is the area of a triangle equals a half times the base times the height. In this question here the base is 6.5, so it's a half times 6.5 times the height of 3.2. On your calculator, a half you would probably know is 0.5, so it's easy to enter, times 6.5 times 3.2. $10.4. Remember, when we're dealing with areas, the answer is always in square units. Here the unit was centimetres, so it's 10.4 centimetres squared. Next case here, you'll notice the height is measured up here. Now it's very important that the height is measured at right angles to the base, and that's what it is in this question, so that is correct. So the area is equal to half the base, so it's half of 4.2 times 4, and you can work it out on your calculator yourself, or you could maybe just about even do it in your head. Works out to be 8.4 meters squared for this one. We're going to use a different formula here. In this triangle we don't know the height, we know two sides and we know the angle between them. So the formula to use is that area equals a half times the two sides multiplied together, 6.4 times 7.2, times the sine of the angle between the two sides, using the trig ratio sine of the angle between the two is 28 degrees. I've just got my little Microsoft calculator here on screen. You've probably got a different calculator that you work with, but no matter what calculator you're working with, the important thing is that you make sure that it's converted to degrees mode. On this one here it's very clear, but on your calculator you must make sure you're in the correct mode when you're using trig functions. So if I'm doing this, 0.5 times 6.4 times 7.2 times, now we have to be a little bit careful here. Different calculators operate in different ways, and you'll need to check how your calculator works. Sometimes when you want to do the sine of 28, you'll put in 28 and then press the sine button. Sometimes you'll just put in sine 28 as it occurs. It depends on exactly how your calculator works. You may need to check it a little bit. On this calculator, I have to put in 28 and then take the sine of it to work out, and you can see it's got this thing here worked out, and it says sine d in degrees 28. Now your calculator might be a little bit different, and if I press the equals, it does. It worked out the sine of 28, now it's worked out the whole thing works out to be 10.82 centimetres squared. Okay, in the next question we have to be a little bit careful. When we're using this formula, half AB times sine of angle C, the angle must be between the two sides that you know. Now we know these two sides, but we need to know this angle. The angle must be between the two sides. We could work out that angle though, because these three angles have to add together to make 180 degrees. So in other words, this angle is going to equal 180 degrees minus this one and this one added together. So that's going to equal 180 minus 120, which equals 60 degrees. Now we can work out the area equals a half times 5.4 times 7.3 times the sine of 60 degrees. Okay, you can work this out and check it on your calculator. I got an answer of 17.07 meters squared. The last question, next questions here involve Heron's formula. Now, Heron's formula is a method for working out the area of a triangle if you know three sides of the triangle. So, the first thing that you have to calculate when you're using Heron's formula is what we call the semi-perimeter of the triangle, half the perimeter. So, to work out half the perimeter, well, you simply work out the perimeter and times it by a half. So it's a half of 5 plus 7 plus 6 in this case. 5, 7 and 6 add up to 18 times a half of 18 is 9 centimetres. So that's the variable S. Now when you're using Heron's formula, the formula goes like this. Area equals the square root of S times S minus A, S minus B, S minus C. A, B and C are the sides of the triangle. So it's the square root of S is 9 times 9 minus each side. 9 minus 5 is 4. 9 minus 7 is 2. And 9 minus 6 is 3. I've done this beforehand. You can do it. Make sure you do that. Press equals and then find the square root of it. You'll end up getting 14.69 centimetres squared. Okay, the next question, same thing. Heron's formula. We know three sides of the triangle. So start by finding out half the perimeter of the triangle. A half of, add those three sides together. Be careful when you do this on your calculator because you've got mixed operations in this question. Plus 9.6, isn't it? When you've got mixed operations in your question where you've got pluses and times together, be very careful. Keep that in brackets. Do it in brackets on your calculator, or do that bit first, press equals, and then times it by half, times it by 0.5. I've done this beforehand. I know the answer is 16.95. Now to work out the area equals, and we've got our Heron's formula. That number there, half perimeter, semi-perimeter, 16.95 times, and it'll be 16.95 minus our first side, 10.1, 16.95 minus 14.2, very ugly setting out, 16.95 minus the third side, 9.6. Okay, so work out each of these, multiply them together, take the square root. I've done this beforehand. The answer works out to be 48.44 meters squared. Once again, be very careful with the way that you use your calculator. Don't try to do too much at once. Work out each of these things separately probably and write them down is safer than trying to do a big long string of things on your calculator.